Week 2 of Future Stars is here, and with Future Stars came the most interesting evolution idea yet from EA, which is the Future Stars Academy series, where we get a set few amount of players, and we get to upgrade them based on their defense, their attack, and their midfield capabilities. And there are some pretty tasty cards. There are also some pretty stinky cards, so I'm going to rank them all. Alright, this is the first time I'm doing a tier list type video, and I talk quite in depth about these players, so it goes on for quite a bit. I am sorry about that. So if you want, put me in second monitor while you're doing foot champs or something, or, you know, like, listen to me while you're going to sleep, hear my dulcet, sexy tones. Or, if you just want to, like, skip through and see where I've put the players that you want to, then feel free to do that. But I've got one challenge for you, and that is, give me your S tier in the comments. I'm curious to know which cards you think are the best of the best. Let's keep it to, give me 4 S tier cards. So as you can see right here, I've made a tier list. Everyone's favorite type of list that has tiers. I don't know where I was going with that. And I have put basically all of the evolved cards in. Yes, technically any card can fit into the attacker's evolution, but I've only put a few variants of that in it because for the most part, I mean, you don't really want skip with the attacker evo, you know, it's just a waste of the attacker evo slot. So, but I've added a couple out there picks, and we'll get to them at a certain point. I guess we go in the order that we've got it in here, and we can go back and forth between the game. This can probably be a tiny bit more in depth to other tier lists because you guys have got to make a decision on which card you want, and I'm here to help you make that decision. I obviously have not played with all of the evolved versions of these cards. That would be crazy. That would involve so much grinding. I don't even know if that's feasibly possible. Even if I had like 100 different consoles, I think I would die before I evolved all of these cards. So it's basically an informed guess of how well they play. I've played with quite a lot of the 82 versions of these cards just to sort of get a feel of them. So I can make an informed guess on those cards. But most of it will be me looking at the stats, work rates, skill moves, weak foot, you know, a little bit of everything, play styles. And make an idea of who I think would be worth it and who I'm like, stay away from. There are a couple who, yeah, don't go for a couple of these. First up on my list, we have the AC Milan midfielder, Yasin Adli. Yeah, with a couple of these, it says that they get upgraded to 89 rated. You know, the little Evo thing where it lies about how high rated these cards will go. So this is what Adli's card would look like. And honestly, not awful. I've got to say that the midfielder evolutions that came out today, they do involve more games, believe it or not, than the previous Evos. I think it's like 25 games it will take to get these cards. So I'm gonna judge slightly on that, but if a card's good, a card's good. And, you know, the grind can be fun sometimes, so it's down to personal preference. To really say the grind could be fun sometimes? What the fuck is wrong with me? This card is Hullet Gang. You've got a little bit of everything, but not that great in anything in particular. More of like a jack of all trades, master of none. He hasn't got a crazy amount of play styles, although technical and first touch might be nice to improve the feel of his dribbling, especially with that agility and balance and his height. 3-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot. 4-star weak foot is nice, not perfect obviously, but it's nice. And 3-star skill moves, I feel like 4-star at this point in the game is sort of, if you want a guy on your team, 4-star and above. But I mean, I can see people like an AC Milan fan might want this guy in their team. He's not awful. He's fast, he's strong, decent stamina, his passing's pretty decent, and he's got 96 shot power, 92 long shots, so he could definitely ping them in from the outside of the box. But just a lack of play styles, a lack of, you know, a lack of quality is really what's holding him back. I might rejig later on, but as my first card, I've got to say Adli, he's a B tier card. I could move him down to a C. I don't know. I've started with mid, to be honest. Next up on the list, we have Jordan Byers, one of the 2 Burnley kids that were in the Defender evolution. And I think he's solid. I think if you're a Burnley fan, you'd be ecstatic. He'd make your team. 87 pace with 86 acceleration, 88 sprint speed. Great for a centre-back. Brilliant defending, physical. Dribbling's pretty high. The short pass and long passing decent as well. Play styles a bit lacking. Block plus obviously everyone gets. No other real useful defensive ones. Slide tackle I think is a bit of a cop out. Press proven might be good, especially with that better dribbling for getting out of tricky situations. I really do rate press proven for dribbling. But aerial is a pretty great play style, especially for a centre back. Someone of 6'2" as well, so he's going to be able to win those headers, Van Dijk style. 3-star skills, 4-star weak foot. Yeah, I mean, 4-star weak foot I think is good for a centre back. High work rates, not ideal. Medium high would be better, but I reckon Jordan Byers is solid. I would say he was probably a better choice than Adley, and if I saw that someone had chose him, I would kind of understand, especially Prem. I know everyone gets full chem anyway, but Prem, German, you'll be able to give chem to other people. I think he's a decent card. I don't know how many people I'm going to have in S tier, and I don't know how many people I'm going to have in A tier. I'm going to put Byers in A tier, maybe move around. It's going to be a mess at the beginning, and then it'll become something later on. That's what I said to my ex when I went out with her. It didn't become something later on. It was a mess all the way through. Next up, we have the MLS player Thiago Alves from the midfield evolutions. I think he isn't awful. Pretty great dribbling. Shooting, I think, is alright. Pace is obviously great. Good acceleration. Passing, I think, for an attack in midfield, quite good. Long passing for a cam, not as good as you'd want it to be. Crossing, if he was on any of the wide spaces, not as good as you'd want it to be. But, I mean, 87 short passing, 95 curved, and 94 free kick accuracy. He's going to be taking some pretty good free kicks for you. Playstyles, pretty interesting for Almada. You've got rapid and first touch. That's pretty good. Incisive pass, finesse shot, and quick step. All pretty good. This guy, I feel, is good. He's going to feel rapid. Especially with that acceleration and those playstyles, he's going to feel pretty fast. And that agility and balance and his height. Yeah, he's going to be able to beat some lines on attack. 4-star, 5-star. That's pretty good in my mind. I mean, it's almost perfect. You're going to be able to cut in on either feet, get some finesse shots in, get some incisive passes in. I think Thiago Alves is good. And in fact, I'm going to do this for all the players that I put multiple versions on. I'm also going to mention his attacking variant. So, Almada has an attacking variant. All cards do. Most of them are kind of useless. But that changes him to 5-star skills and 4-star weak foot. It's a bit like a versus card. Which one do you want? You get an extra rating as well. You get some extra attacking. He gets some extra attacking play styles. He gets chip shot. And he gets acrobatic. Power headed, probably less useful for him. Pretty much the same story stats-wise. There isn't much difference. 1 extra pace. So he's going to feel even more rapid. He doesn't have the defending, or he doesn't have the defending that the other card does. But I think he's a pretty decent choice. The only thing I would say is choosing him would mean that you won't be able to choose another one of the attackers, and some of the attackers are pretty good, as you'll find out later on. Almada is a solid card. I would say out of the midfielder ones, one of the best choices, but the midfielder ones I think are weaker in general. I don't think it's worth putting his attacker one in, but I thought I'd show you the variant anyway, so people were aware it's out there. Almada, I know it sounds like I've been hyping him up, but it's just what the midfield ones have been like. I would probably put him high B. Yet again, I would probably expect to see him more than a few of the cards that will be in A, but that's because the midfield ones haven't been that great. I think he's a great choice for the midfield one, maybe even bump him up to a high A just so he's on his own tier for the midfield, because I think, bar one card, I think, you know what, he's staying high B. There's one card that I think would be the A tier for midfield, and we'll get to them later on. And I'll put the 90 rated Almada into the C slot because he's taken a spot from one of the attackers, and I just can't have that, man. I can't have that. I can't have that. Next up, we have Eric Garcia. And you know what? There's some stuff I really do like about this Eric Garcia card. 6 foot, medium high, 3-star, 4-star. Decent pace. I wish the pace split was the other way around. I prefer higher acceleration on my center backs, but what can you do? There's one reason why this card stands out for me, and it is the passing capabilities of him. He's a solid center back with 89 defending, decent strength, decent aggression, but for me, he has long ball pass and pinged pass with 95 long passing and 92 short passing. You're going to be able to spread balls from the back. Yeah, with 3-star skills and 4-star weak foot, can use to some extent both feet. If you have ball playing defenders in this game and you like playing out from the back, Eric Garcia is a pretty good center back when it comes to that. And that's not mentioning with his 89 defending and anticipate, which is, as most people will know by now, a pretty good play style. Press proven as well, adds to being able to get out those tricky situations. 95 reactions. This guy's gonna be able to pick up balls like that. Doesn't quite have the aerial capabilities of someone like Byers. As we said before, medium high is pretty good. Jumping is not bad, but you don't have that aerial. So because of that, I think I would put Eric Garcia also in the A tier, slightly above Byers, just because he has like a direct function. If you have center backs that you want to play the ball out from, get that pinged pass across the pitch, yeah, Eric Garcia has that in spades with those passing capabilities. Yeah, I think he's a pretty good card. And one of those ones that at first glance I didn't think he was that good, but looking at him with the anticipate, the passing, I was like, okay, I get you. But that lack of physical and that lack of aerial ability compared to someone like Byers means that they're on level heading for me. Byers just a better, more defensive center back in my mind. Next up on the list is Brian Brobby, a player who I feel like, as someone who plays Football Manager, he's been around forever, but he's still so young. Brian Brobby is a very interesting card. When I saw the base, like the stats of all of the cards upgraded, I immediately was like, I want that Brian Brobby card. But there's one really big flaw which just, it's just annoying. Look at all these stats. I think these stats are amazing. 99 strength, 99 jumping with 96 heading accuracy, 99 attack positioning, 97 pace, 93 shot power, 94 finishing. He has 4-star, 4-star. I mean, his dribbling isn't even that bad. He's a 5'11", and I think with that jumping reach, he definitely could use the power header and the acrobat that he's got, especially with aerial and bruiser and rapid. He is gonna be the most physical beast in the game. He could have been one of the greatest strikers, but there's one thing which takes him, like, he can't be S tier just because of this one thing. And they didn't update it. He has low. He has low. Come on. Oh, this card was almost brilliant. Low is annoying, especially because the Player of the Month card that they've got out in SBCs right now, they made him high-low. No, why could you do that again? If he was high-low, instant for me. Instant. I really like that Brobby card as a great physical striker with insane pace and just some really good play styles. Brian Brobby could have been the best out there. But unfortunately, you know, unfortunately, wasn't meant to be. The low. I still think he could be great, and you can negate some of the work rates by doing manual runs and stuff like that. Honestly, I still think he's going to be a great card, but I'm just not going to put him in that S tier because I've got to be brutal in this world. I still think if you choose Brian Brobby, yeah, he's going to be a great card for you. But he could have been better. He could have been better. I don't know why I sang that, but he could have been better. That's what I'm trying to get at. Next up, we have Asen, the other Burnley lad. And same with Byers. Good nation, good league. Yet again, doesn't matter because he gets 3 chem all the time anyway, but for linking with other players, it's pretty useful. I like Lorenz Asen. I think this card is pretty neat. 93 pace, 90 dribbling, 86 defending, 78 physical. The interesting thing I find here is anticipate and block plus is pretty good, but also with, on the flip side, rapid and quick step with press proven, which means he's able to run legs up and down the side of the pitch, and with that defensive stats, it puts him in a sort of like very quality league when it comes to fullbacks. I think this card's pretty decent. The 92 crossing, 94 short passing, both pretty great. The main issue with this card is the physical isn't that great compared to some of the fullbacks out there, but it isn't dreadful. The strength and aggression a bit lower than you'd want. This card definitely gives me like Kyle Walker vibes. The big pace, but the solid in defense. But I mean, you compare him to Walker, he has so much better dribbling and passing and defending. So I think this card could be pretty decent. And with those extra defensive play styles, I think could just be a really solid defensive fullback with good legs to go forward and decent passing to get assists. Like, what more can you ask for in a fullback? More skill moves. And probably a high work rate or a high medium work rate, you know. But like, when I'm saying what more can you ask for, I'm talking about ideal world. And with EAFC and free cards, ideal world is not a world that we live in. So Asen, I am putting Asen in A tier. It's a bit of an A fest right now, but generally these cards have been quite decent. But there are some cards that I'm gonna have words with. Next up on my list, we have Sidney Leman. I like, well, I was hinting it to earlier on. There was one card I liked the most out of the midfield, and it was Sidney Leman, which a few of you who have looked at midfield ones might not agree with. And yet again, this is all my opinion, but I really like Sidney Leman's card. High, great for a centre mid or a cam. With that defense, you'd want to maybe play her a bit further back. I know she doesn't have a centre mid as an actual option, but as you say here, you can play a right mid, you can move her in game, but right mid I think would also be decent. The pace isn't awful. Kind of reminds me of, I have Mateus sort of playing right mid at the moment. Maybe sort of those vibes. She's 5'9", which isn't as small as you might think with some of these female players. And with that Tiki Taka and the Intercept Plus, you're going to be able to get some defensive prowess out of her. Her stand tackle and slide tackle isn't that great, but her interceptions and defensive awareness are pretty good. So that'll be able to compensate, especially with Intercept Plus. She's going to be getting balls in the midfield like Prime Kante. But on top of that, she has aerial, which means she's going to feel even taller than she does. And then rapid, first touch, block, power shot, especially with her shot power and long shots. I think she's going to be pretty great. There is one thing I do want to sort of point out. You can have a high 3-star, 5-star. That's pretty good. Or you could pop her into the attackers one, make her 4-star, 4-star if you really want those 4-star skill moves. But as I said with Almada, it does get rid of the capabilities of some of the attacking players who are quite good. And it gets rid of the Intercept Plus, which you're probably not going to want. So I would probably put her a tier below, but the options out there for a 4-star, 4-star version of her, which in some regards is pretty decent. the stats are very similar with the attacking and the midfield ones. So, Sydney Leman. Yes. I am going to put her as the bottom of A tier because I actually kind of rate her cards. I think they're the best choice for the midfield ones, which feels a bit annoying because I've done it so early. There is a couple of cards which could be on the same level. Almeida is one of them, and another one that you'll see later on. So we'll have it like that. Next up, we have Ivan Illich, a decent, solid card, but in my mind, nothing special. The passing and dribbling are good with the height. I think he could be decent with the intercept. But, I mean, there's nothing special about the card. He's high-medium, which isn't the best, not the worst. 3-star, 5-star, like Leman. But unlike Leman, it doesn't spark me with much joy. Which I can't quite put my finger on because the stats are quite similar. I think Illich is a solid card. But I think it's just lacking a couple of those playstyles that you'd want. Especially the physical ones. And the shot ones. I feel like shot power and long shot's great, but defense isn't perfect. The attacking, like, I don't really know what his purpose is. He's a box-to-box midfielder who can't really do it in the final third or the bottom third. The passing's pretty good, especially with the 5-star weak foot. I can't really complain about this card. I just think it's not a special card, which feels so contradictory because I'm now realizing the card isn't that different to Leman, and maybe I've overhyped her a bit. And that's where the anxieties of making a tier list come in. What am I doing with my life? I'm going to put him in the B tier. I actually think he might be slightly better than Adley. I don't know. Next we have Bray. Yet again, another card which I can put. I've got the attacker variant I'm looking at and the midfield variant. I think, therefore I am. No, sorry. I think he looks alright. This guy doesn't really have the defense to stand out, which is annoying because with Intercept Plus, not going to be as useful as some of these other cards. Dribbling, physical, and like pace, all pretty good. Shooting is good, although I don't know if I'd want him in like a cam position. You will have 4-star, 5-star with the midfield variant, but with medium, and 6-1, I just feel like he wouldn't be good as good as another attacker like Almada. In the cam position, I think the main thing for me, which sort of brings this card down, is that passing. I don't think the passing is that great, other than Tiki Taka doesn't have any passing play styles. 79 long passing, it doesn't cut it. It doesn't cut it. I'm sorry, Bray, it doesn't cut it. And if you put him into the attacking one, the defense is even worse, but at that point, it doesn't really matter. With his height, honestly, power header and acrobatic could be quite useful to him. He'll have 5-star skills and 4-star weak foot as well. I don't think it's an awful trade-off. Passing, though, still an issue. Will always be an issue. I do think maybe the attacking one's slightly better, but then again, you're taking a slot from the attacking. I'm going to be a broken record by the end of this. 4-star skills, 5-star weak foot. I can't be too harsh on him. I'm going to put them both in B tier. And I'm going to take Leman down. Even though I like her A tier card, she loses a bit of that defense. I'll put her high C tier. Next, we have Odelon Kusunu. Part of the really good Bundesliga fast centre-backs. I like Kusunu. Rapid. Rapid. Decent defending, decent physical, good strength. I think the reactions, composure, not bad. Vision could be higher, but I mean, has ping pass and long ball pass, similar to Eric Garcia. I just don't think he has that special that some of these centre-backs have. Weirdly enough, he's the one that I've been considering doing. but that is only because I want a new centre back. But I lose Chem on Seri if I get a non-icon centre back, but I get the Chem back because he's Ivorian. It's literally the only reason I've considered him. I think he would do. I think he'd be solid for your team. I just think there are better choices. It's a pretty simple one at that. I think there are just better choices, and I think he's maybe a slightly worse version, taller, but slightly worse version of Eric Garcia. I'm putting him in the B tier, in the middle. That's an easy one for me. Kusunu, not great, but not bad, like solid. Next up, we have Mariana Serro. She has a big grin for me, but she's not gonna have a big grin after she hears what I have to say, and that is, yeah, she's the worst. Not as a person. I don't know you, Mariana Serro. I'm sure you're really nice. I'm sure you're really nice, but out of the cards that they've done for the academy, I think that she's the worst. I can't complain too much about her passing or her defending. It's just, you know, just not a great card. There isn't, like, a lot of the playstyles she have aren't the best. I mean, long ball pass isn't awful, but I mean, it's maybe the worst other than Tiki Taka out of the passing stats. Defending, I mean, block's not bad, but I mean, it could have been one of the others. She has no physical traits, no attacking traits, and her only dribbling trait is first touch. I mean, luckily it wasn't flair for her, because otherwise I just would cry. I think that she could probably be Kante-esque in the fact that she'll be able to intercept pretty good, and she'll be able to get a few balls with that intercept plus and that 92 interceptions. But she has 2-star skill moves, which I just don't think at this point in the game I would be able to deal with. Personally. I think some people who don't use skills, or like, or if you really didn't want to like do anything on the ball with her, it could be alright if she's just sweeping up. But 2-star skill moves, they should have let me up it a bit. She would definitely have gone up, because medium high 5-7. It could have been better. It could have been better, but it's not. And because it's not, I mean, I'm saying she's the worst now, but this could be another card. I haven't really looked through this that crazily, but she's a D tier card. I'm sorry, Mariana Serro. Like, if you want to like chat about it, I'm down, but like, I don't think I can't. And from one Spanish female Future Stars player to another, we have Atena. But unlike the similarities she has with Serro in terms of nationality and league, she doesn't have it with quality. That makes sense in my mind. Yeah, I think this card is... It's an annoying one, because when the future... When they brought out this evolution, everyone sort of looked at this card and went, yep, that's it. And I'm trying to not do her. I'm trying, but I mean, 5-star, 5-star, the only 5-star, 5-star in any of the evolutions. She's great. Like, technical, first touch, trickster, they're all gonna be good. But the main thing is her stats here. I mean, with her height, and it's one of those ones that people do know how good she is because she's had other good cards this year. That agility and balance, which would have been one of the worst things of her, you don't feel that. She feels so good on the ball, and with that shooting, with that pace, I mean, for an out-and-out attacking player who can play on both wings, Atena is great. She probably does lack a bit of the play styles, you know, and I mean, the power header and acrobatic, not as useful for her as some other players. Although I will say, and I stand by this, for wingers, I think that no matter your height, they're going to get their head on a couple of balls that have gone over everyone. So I think that power header, even though she's 5'3", will come in clutch a couple of times for you with Atena. yeah, great card. I guess the only thing you'd say is missing that long passing, but you're not going to be doing any crazy long balls with her because she'll be in your attack. She'll be in your attacks. And that 94 short passing, 91 vision, it's a good compromise. I'll take it. Yeah, Atena, it's an annoying one because I've really not wanted... I've wanted to not do this card, but 5-star, 5-star with above 90 in pace, shooting, and dribbling. And the stuff that looks a bit lower, I think, isn't going to be an issue for her. Yeah, S tier. We have D to S tier within one thing. Yeah, Atena, S tier. She's yeah. I mean, I don't think many people are going to disagree with me on that one. A lot of people have started to do her card. Next up, we have Jesus Ferrera, or Jesus Ferrera. Depends on how he pronounces it, I guess. An MLS card. I'm not going to pretend like I know the player. I'm not familiar. But high medium, 4-4, pretty good dribbling, good shooting, very good pace. The play styles, dribbling, no real good dribbling play styles, and no extra good scoring play styles. He's got aerial, but he's 5'9", but aerial and power header is a good combo, same with acrobatic. No quick step or rapid with his pace. I think I'm just going to judge him a bit harsher because he's in the attacker evo, and a lot of those cards are really, really good. This card just isn't on that level, and because of that, I'm going to be harsher. Unless you are a fan of him or you're building an MLS team, I don't think anyone should do that card. Ferrera, for me, is going in the D tier. Not actually a bad card, like Serra. Yeah, again, Serra's not an awful card, but all of these cards are a certain level of quality. But Ferrera, yeah, I'm putting Ferrera in that D tier. I just don't think, unless you really like him as a footballer, there's no reason why you should do this card. Next up, we have Brian from Bayern Munich. Yeah, again, good team, good league, good nation. Doesn't mean anything for his card, but for other cards, that's going to be quite useful. I think Brian looks pretty decent. He's 5'7", high medium, 4'4". Not got a 5-star skill move or weak foot, unfortunately, but I mean, I think it's a decent card. Dribbling seems very good. Pace, yeah, that pace is pretty good. And that shooting and that passing are both good as well. Passing's better than Atena because it has that long passing, has that lower vision, but I think for an attacking player, it could be pretty good. He can play cam as well, so you can have him in different formations for starting with, which is always a bonus. The play styles I think are pretty decent from as well. No passing play styles, unfortunately, but has finesse shot. Finesse shot's all right. It's been nerfed a tiny bit, but still, finesse shot is better than not having finesse shot. And has rapid, has flair. I don't know why it exists, but he has rapid at the very least. I think Brian's gonna feel very fast and very good on the ball. I don't think he's on the level of Atena, 4-star, 4-star, and I think there's a few other cards that pip him to it. But I think that Brian is a pretty tacked on A tier card for me. I think compared to some of the other attackers, maybe not the choice that a lot of people go for, but if you're a Spanish football fan or Brian, if you're a fan of Brian, you're definitely going to want to do him. If you're a fan of Bayern Munich, then you're going to want to do him, I guess. I think I would still worry a tiny bit if I saw him in an opponent's team. I'd be like, he can be fast and he could dribble. Stay on him. Next up, we have Dina Abimbe. Dina Abimbe is the person that I've done on I've got a handheld console, an RG Ally. I've just started Ultimate Team on there, and I've done him. And he's very good. There is a reason why I really rate this card, and he's a really good midfielder. I know this is from the attacking evolution, but he is a really good midfielder. That's being 6 foot with that physical and that pace, with anticipate and rapid, and with power header. He is so solid. That 70 defending feels like 84, you know? He feels so good as a center midfielder. He has got decent passing, really good dribbling, really good pace. As I said before, really good physical. This guy is a monster. And a lot of people, when he came out, thought he'd fit into either the defender or the midfield evolutions, because he has those as alternate positions, which is great. Unfortunately, he didn't, so we've only got this variant of him, but he's still so good. And he was one of those ones, at first glance, I was like, interesting, 3-star weak foot, which is probably his biggest issue, and medium isn't the best, not the worst. But playing with him, and I think I've seen other people agree, he is a ridiculous centre mid. There's not many centre mids that feel as fast and as strong as him in the game. I honestly think he is a top tier midfielder for anyone. If you get over the weak foot, that is. So for me, even with his weak foot issues, Dina Ebembe is S tier. He's just a different type of player to a lot of these other attackers and midfielders, and he's a player that is welcome in most sides. I'm a bit stacked in midfield on my main account, so maybe not go for him. But I mean, if you're looking for a fast, strong midfielder, he's good. And even just looking at his stats, that anticipate on him, oh, he mops up. He mops up. Next up, we have Trudia. Gertruda. I'm sorry, Dutch people. Gertruda? Yeah, as most people will know him from the last FIFA, where he had some pretty good cards. He had a good Foundations card and then a Team of the Season. Both were absolutely cracked. This card, I think, is really good. I think this card is really good. We've looked at a few other centre-backs from the defence one. I really like Trudia. He has Jockey and Anticipate. I mean, he obviously has Block Plus. He has Rapid for a for someone who could play centre-back. And Press Proven. I mean, I think this man is an insane centre-back. Also has the option, obviously, to play right back. That is his default position. Can also play CDM. Has really good dribbling, so can get you out of those tricky situations from the back. And yeah, again, Anticipate and Jockey, medium high, 6'1", but with 99 jumping. I think, yeah, I think this guy is ridiculous. I think this guy might be the best centre back in the evolutions. Maybe doesn't have that insane passing that Eric Garcia has. Yeah, this guy's definitely going to be able to do bits for you at centre back. I feel like he's going to mop up shop and you're not going to have to worry about anything with him in your squad. Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to do this card. This is a card that I want to do. I would say, yeah, Trudia for me is an S tier card. We're on a roll right now. We've got good cards coming. What can happen? What's going to happen next? We're going to keep having good cards, obviously. Where have all the good cards gone? We've got Stein. I actually think Stein is pretty decent for the midfield ones. Stein is a cam. He's a cam. Stein is a cam. And because of that, I'm also going to look at his attacking variant, because that extra defense isn't worth it for him. Because, yeah, it's just not worth it for him. Great dribbling, great shooting stats, pretty good passing stats. When it comes to play styles, yeah, Travella, not as good as it was. Neither is Finesse Shot. And he does have Chip Shot, which you do get with the attacking, so that would be a wasted one. But Intercept's a waste on him. Tiki Taka might be good for him because his passing is pretty decent. I think Stein's a good bet for the midfield ones if you really don't know who to do. And if you put him into the attacking one, he ends up with 4-star 4-star instead of 3-star 5-star, which is a bonus. The extra defense is the extra defense isn't needed, and I think that, yeah, I think it's an option. But then again, the playstyles you get aren't necessarily worth it. There are so many good attackers. You don't need to put Stein in the attacker either. So for me, I mean, Stein I think is an alright choice for a cam. But I'm gonna put him in. Yeah, I'm telling you that there are these options for these cards in the attacker evos, but the attackers are so good. They're so good. Next up, we have Parisi. Fabiano Parisi. I think Parisi is a solid card. maybe similar to Asen on the other side, where pretty good defense and physical and pace for a fullback. There aren't actually, I mean, there are a lot of fullbacks in this game, but for a pure like defensive fullback, these evolutions have been quite good for if you want a defensive fullback like a Kyle Walker type. 5'10", that's pretty, I think that's a decent height for a fullback. Got rapid as well, and jockey, which is all nice to have. I don't think he's as good as Asen. Asen has that anticipate, but I definitely think Pires can do a bit. He also has that decent passing stats, and if you want to flip it on his head, get rid of that solid defending, but add something a bit more to his game. You can actually put Pires into the attacker's evolution, get some Hullet gang. I thought just because it gets some Hullet gang, I might as well put him into the video. Gets a tiny bit extra pace, loses quite a bit of that defense. I don't think it's a great option because it also gets rid of one of his weak foot as well. 3-star, 3-star. Waste of the attacker's one in my opinion, but it is an option if you really like Pires and you want to use him, but you also want two of the other defenders. Or if you're like, I want him to be a bit more attacking, have him as like a left mid in a 3-5-2, then I guess I just want to put this option out there for you. But like most things, he does clog up a slot in the attackers. I'm actually going to put him in the D tier because I don't think he's as good as Leman or Almeida or Saibri was going to the attacker one. But I will put his I'll put his defense card in B tier. And next up we have Malade, and as she is in the French language, she is sick. I know it's spelled different, but I thought some French people might find that funny. Someone somewhere, please laugh at that. Yeah, no, she's pretty good. If you're a Man U fan, I would understand you doing this card. I mean, the stats, they don't lie. I do find it really, really funny that she had that featured team of the week card. Pop it up, Editor Sam. And then her 82 version is just better than that, which I find quite funny. It's a weird humor. But I mean, great passing, great dribbling, great shooting, great shot, and pretty good physical. She's not even that small, 5'7". She can play striker. I guess the only thing is she's missing any of these real standout play styles. She doesn't have really, I mean, press proven is good, but she doesn't have any of the other dribbling ones. The only scoring ones she has are power header and chip shot, which are the two worst. No passing ones, and yeah, it could be better. But 4-star, 4-star, medium. There's just a lot of stuff which doesn't put her quite at that S tier. I mean, if she had 5-star something, or if she had high medium, or if she had more play styles, I think she's going to be a great card if you want to use her. I just don't think she's on the level of those S tier cards. So I'm putting her with Brian Brobby as those almosts at the top of A tier. Next up, we have Azzedine Ounahi. I think this card is mid. I think there's one real good plus, and that is the passing. Especially with incisive pass as well and Tiki-Taka Plus. I think that passing is really good. 99 short passing, 95 long passing, 94 vision. I just think really doesn't have a purpose. I mean, he has technical and first touch, but 79 balance isn't great. It's not awful, it's not great. I think the defense is too low. I think the attacking is, the shooting is too low. The physical is alright. It's not great. The stamina makes it look better than it is. And that pace is good. It's not great. Like, I think that is just, this card is the definition of good, not great. The benefits are 6 foot, so might be able to win some headers. 3-star skills, 5-star weak foot. 5-star weak foot's not good, especially with that passing. High is decent as well. Like, if you looked at this to begin with, but you didn't look at the stats, you'd be like, okay, we're onto a good card here. But it's an annoying one. Like, he just needs a purpose. Like, add like 5 extra defending. You have a decent CDM. Maybe with a bit lower physical than you want. Or maybe you add better shooting, and then you'd be like, decent box to box, you know? But at the moment, you're just going to want him in the midfield, pinging, which I guess there are some players that you do want that with. It's just, he's not special. So, because of that, I feel like I'm being pretty harsh. But I think he's one of the worst midfield ones. He's Hullet Gang, so you think he'd be one of the best. But, I don't know. I could rethink about this. I mean, I've already forgotten some of the stats of the other midfield ones, I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you got issues with it, I'll fight you. No, let me know in the comments. I won't fight you. You'd win. And here we have Rodri from Real Betis. And if you didn't see it earlier on, I think yesterday, he had Man City Rodri as his dynamic image, which I don't know how. Maybe the person doing the content doesn't know football and just typed in Rodri into Getty Images or something and chose the first Rodri. Who knows? How does that happen? Rodri, I think, is a pretty good card. I think got a lot of stuff in the right places. For example, if you look at his shooting, he doesn't have very good volleys or penalties, but the rest of them, pretty fucking good. 97 shot power is great. The pace, 92, not as good as some of the other cards, but 97 acceleration. I think that's pretty good. Dribbling, maybe reactions and composure a bit lower, but agility and balance are good. Physical, 73, but the stamina makes up for it. And passing, only 88, but with 92 vision and 95 short passing and 88 long passing. I think he's going to feel great at most things on the attacking side of the pitch. Has finesse shot as well. Has technical, which is always great. No passing traits or defensive traits, obviously. None of the pace traits either, so no quick step or rapid. But in general, I think this card is pretty fucking good. Can play cam as well, similar to Brian. The card does actually remind me a lot of Brian's, but with a bit of extra flair. 5-star skill moves. You know, high medium, 5-6. I think this card's pretty decent. If I came across it, I'd be like, yeah, I think it's a good choice. I've played with his 82 quite a bit on my other account, and I think he's going to be great. I think he's actually scored quite a lot for me. So I think Rodri is going to be a good card, and I think he's going to be around just a tiny bit better than Brian. You know, A tier. Next up, we have young Oliver Skip. Tottenham fans are going to want to do this one, I'd imagine. Skip is almost a good card. The playstyle Intercept Plus, great. Also has Slide Tackle and Bruiser, great. Tiki Taka means you can get the ball out pretty fast first time. Ping Pass, I think, is great for a CDM. First Touch, also not bad for a CDM. I think solid CDM, but there's a little caveat, which is he has 2-star skill moves. Similar to Sarr, bit of a mistake. Maybe they should have added +1 skill moves to all of these cards. Then maybe some of these cards would have looked a bit more appealing. 2-star skill moves, I don't think cuts it now. As I said earlier on, 5'9". I mean, obviously, if he had these exact same stats, which was 6'2", I'd prefer it, just to be more solid. But I mean, Kante is still Kante, and I play with Jean-Michel Seri at CDM, so small CDMs can still work. Because everything else is there to be a good card, I'm not going to be as harsh as I was with Cerro. But for me, Cerro, Skip is a B. It's a middle B. Could have been an A. Could have been an A if he had a tiny bit more skill moves or way more height. But I honestly don't think he'd do bad for you as a sit back CDM. You know? Now this, in my mind, is a really interesting one. Sergio Gomez. Sergio Gomez, good team, good league. Yeah, again, doesn't matter for him, but for other people it will do. He can play CDM, and I think he's pretty good. Ridiculous dribbling coming out of the defensive evolution. Great passing, good pace, good defending, and yeah, it doesn't have the strength, but I mean, I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue if you play him a bit more in the midfield and less in the defense. I also think he could be a decent fullback as well. And to add to that, he has 5-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot. I mean, that's great. 5-star skill moves, always great. And I mean, I think most of the stuff is in the right places. 90 interceptions. I mean, stamina's great. I think passing is brilliant. Shooting, like, it could be better, but I mean, you're not really going to want him in, like, cam position. Play styles, incisive pass, awesome. Press proven, great. Jockey and block. I think Sergio Gomez is great. And Sergio Gomez is probably the most interesting card for dropping into the attacker evo. That isn't an attacker evo. It turns him into a pretty good, like, left mid or attacking center mid, or even up to cam. He still has that 5-star skill moves, loses a weak foot, but because he has high medium, I mean, I think he could do bits in the midfield. Still has that incisive pass, and still has that jockey for that extra defensive prowess. This card's pretty good. I mean, if someone chose to do this instead of the defense one, instead of the defense one, I would have been like, it's a choice, but I don't think it's the worst choice. I think Sergio Gomez, both the variants of the card. I think the defense one is an S tier card, and I think the attack one is an A tier card. I don't think it's quite S tier. Taken away from some of the best evos that we've got here. He loses a bit with that one less weak foot. But I think good choice regardless. And yet again, back-to-back quality cards. We've got Sarava, who I think is really good. I think she's really good. She's 5'8", so not really small. She's a great left-sided... she's a great fullback. 5-star skills, 4-star weak foot. Brilliant. I think really good defense, really good physical, pretty good dribbling. The passing, I think, is mostly good. I mean, the crossing's high, which is the main thing you'd want for a fullback. She also has technical and rapid, which is going to be great for her going down the wing. Press proven as well. That's going to go really good with her 5-star skill moves. Technical and press proven is brilliant. I mean, one of the best cards in the game is Javi, and that's because he has that press proven. And she has aerial as well, which 5'8", as I said before, not that small, but with aerial, she's actually going to be a presence. Sarava is a really good choice, and honestly, I'm really torn with the defensive evolution on choosing between Trudia, Sergio Gomez, and Sarava, because I can't have all three of them. And they're even with Eric Garcia and Asen, Byers, I really like the defensive one. I know people, when it first came out, they were a bit like, oh, it's not as, like, high rated as the attacker one, but you've got some really good defensive options there. Like, options that, like, don't have non-Evo, like, variants. You know what I mean? You have, with Atena, you have other wingers that are like that in the game. You also have other evolutions that are like that, but to have a fullback that with that good defending, there aren't that many, like, outside of some of the top tier cards. So I'm Sarava. Yeah, you got my vote. So you got my vote. S tier Sarava. Such a fun name to say. Sarava, and the link to Atena. It's all great. It's all great. I hit my mic. I'm sorry about that. I got too passionate about Sarava. Next up, we have Noah Okafor. And this one's a bit different because he is the one I have in my team right now. I've actually done him. Noah Okafor was the one that I immediately went to. I needed a striker. And the reason I went to him is because he's a presence and a half. I mean, yes, his dribbling and his shooting and his passing is not as good as players like Mallard or even Brian, Rodri, Atena. Yeah, not on that level. But look at that pace. And look at that physical. And he's got 5-star skill moves. He also is, he's 6'1" and he's high medium, which really adds to, with his 99 jumping, adds to having power header and acrobatic as the playstyle pluses. Him and Brobby are like the two cards that were perfect for these playstyle pluses, and he does make the most out of it. Also having rapid and quick step with 98 pace. Yeah, he maybe doesn't feel as fast as some other players, but he does definitely feel very fast. I think it's his height and his that sort of makes it feel a bit slower, and his strength. But I think he is rapid. Yeah, I've played a lot of these games early on when his base card isn't that great before you upgrade him. So a lot of these are doing him to upgrade, and I did him in Foot Champs last weekend league rather than doing him in squad battles or anything because I'm a sociopath. I was playing with like an 82 Okafor. Yeah, I really like this card. I mean, even with his 82 passing, the vision and short passing are great. Skill moves, I love skill moves. Yeah, great card. I feel like at the end we're just going to get hit with a bunch of top tier cards, but that is just how good some of the cards are in the attacking and defensive evolutions. Next up we have Tiet? I said Tiet? I don't know. Arthur. I'm going to call him Arthur Tiet. I think people might remember him. He had a Headliners, was it? A year or two ago with like 85 pace. I remember him being in my team for a bit. He was quite good. This card has pretty good defense and physical, but I have an issue with this card. That is, he isn't as good as the other options. I mean, having power header and aerial is pretty good, especially because he's 6'1" and he has great physical. And he has Bruiser as well. He's going to feel really solid. He's going to be a great solid centre back. But compared to the other options, yes, he might have probably the best defending and physical. And his dribbling's actually pretty good as well, bar his actual dribbling stat. But no real passing capability. His pace isn't anywhere near as good as these other cards, and the split is the wrong way around again, so he's going to feel even slower. He's a good card. I would say he was a good card, but easily the worst centre-back option there is, I think. I got another one. No, I think he is the worst centre-back option. And because of how good all the other ones are, I still think he's an alright card, and he's better than some of the cards in the B tier, but I'm putting him in C tier just to be like, to prove a point. He's the worst out of this defense, in my mind. Yet again, if someone had him, I'd still be like, he's probably a good card, but you know, it's semantics at this point. Next up, we have Tolkien, and I actually kind of dig this card. Josh Tolkien, 4-star, high. I think he could be a great fullback. He kind of reminds me of that booth card we had at the end of last year, the Shapeshifters one. I think great defense. Great physical, strength is a bit low, but for a fullback who can also play CDM, he's got a lot going on for him. Passing, I would want it to be slightly better, but that dribbling with the 4-4 and that defense means he's going to be able to be pretty solid defensive midfielder and a pretty solid fullback. Doesn't have the greatest play styles, like slide tackle, flair. Press proven's decent for dribbling. Long throw can always be useful to have one of those players in your team, so yeah. I do like Tolkien's card. I think Tolkien is a good choice, and I actually, at first glance, I kind of was intrigued by doing Tolkien, but then I really had a look at the other options. Tolkien is He's a good card. Just comparing it to players like Asen, Eric Garcia, Byers, he's a B tier card. But I honestly, for the type of card that he is, of skillful fullback / CDM, he's got bottom of A tier. He has a purpose. There's a reason why some people might choose him over someone like Byers, you know, because someone might want this type of player in their squad. And if you're an MLS fan, get him. I think he would be a great player for your team. Now we have Facundo Torres, a player that I've heard quite good stuff about in IRL. I think people really rate him as a player. Facundo Torres, I think this card's alright. 5'10", high medium, 4'4". 5'10" isn't that bad. Finesse, shot, and technical, good halves. I mean, I think this card is a slightly worse version of Brian and Rodri. But if you're an MLS fan or you're a huge fan of Facundo Torres, like watching him do his stuff, definitely a usable card. Definitely a card that, yeah, again, I came across him, I'll be like, gotta watch out for that insane pace, almost max pace. But yeah, gonna be short and sweet with this one. He's a B tier card, just because it could be so much better. Next up, we have Manuel Ugarte. I don't think it's Ugarte, I think it's Ugarte. I could be wrong. I think for the midfield cards, this one's pretty great. Similar to Skip, maybe doesn't have the right, exactly the right play styles like Skip does. But unlike Skip, he has 3-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, and a 6 foot, which all bonuses. High means he's going to push forward a bit, which maybe you don't want him to do, but I mean, his passing is great. 90 vision, 97 short passing, 96 long passing. His dribbling's not going to feel amazing, but for a CDM, I think it'll be good enough. But great defense, great interceptions. Honestly, I would have hoped his strength a tiny bit better. But I think this guy's going to be able to mop up at CDM. Yeah, not the fastest, but 82 pace at CDM is perfect, fine. Yeah, I think this card's going to be great. He can ping a pass, and he can defend, and he's got presence to him. I think he's just slightly better than Oliver Skip, and probably one of the best. You have to pick 2 cards for each of these. Well, you don't have to. You can pick 2 cards for each of these Evos, and if you're picking 2 cards, I would say most people should pick up Ugarte out of the midfield ones because he has a purpose. God, the midfield ones should have. Oh, they could have been so much better. Extra skill moves. Yeah. Extra all-round stats. I would have been okay with that. And finally, we have Lynn Wilms, unsure. I think she could be a great option for a female fullback. Dribbling is good. She still only has 3-star skill moves, so not quite on Svava's level or Tolkien's level. But great passing stats, has incisive and long ball, so she's going to be able to ping a ball pretty well. She has anticipate as well, so her defense is going to be even better than it looks. Aerial as well, especially because she's 5'9". I think she's going to be able to win a few balls in the air. She's going to have some presence. Press proven means her dribbling is going to feel better than it does, especially when people are around her. I think she's a decent card. I'm thinking she's a decent card. There are so many good options with the fullbacks. I think she is one of the best fullbacks, but again, I don't know. She's one of the best B tiers. That's what I wanted to say. She's a B tier. This is how it looks. Yeah. This is what the tier list looks like. The S tiers, I stand by it. Atena, Ibembe, Okafor, Trudia. Yeah, I think, especially with Sergio Gomez, Sarra, all of those cards are cards that can make your team. A tier are cards that are almost perfect for what they are. And that includes some really good options. I think Brian Brobby has the best stats. Like, his stats are incredible. But it's that low. Mallard has great stats, but it's just lacking in the play styles or that little bit of something to take it to the next level. Asen, a great option for a defensive fullback. Eric Garcia, one of the best passing centre-backs in the game. Yeah, I think I stand by this list. I stand by it. And I don't really... This is the first time I've done one of these tier lists. And it's going to be a long video. Yeah, let me know what you thought. If you've made it this far, please sub. Like, dude, you're like my biggest fan if you've made it this far. Let me know, who did you take? Let me know who you think is good. If I've really overrated someone or really underrated someone. I can easily overlook something in the stats. God, this has taken a while. I don't know what it's going to cut down to, but fuck it. And if you've got any ideas for any content you want me to do, if you want me to talk about anything else, if you want me to look at any cards, if you want me to look at any evolution paths, I'll do it for you. Other than that, fucking vibe away, my friends, vibe away. That's not an outro, I don't know what to say.